Now, I'm not really sure if this is a hot take or not, but I feel like it needs to be said. In my humble opinion, season 1 of JJK was mid. I'll even say dirt to some degree. But before you dislike this or click off the video, hear me out. So almost a year later now, after watching JJK season 2, instead of going and reading the manga because I'm scared and I heard bad things, I decided I wanted to go back and rewatch from start to finish. So at the time I'm making this, just know I'm strictly talking about seasons 1 and 2, no manga. As I was rewatching season 1, I realized why it took me so long to get into JJK in the first place. Season 1 is just not good. And sure, it has some ups, but overall I really didn't like it, guys. Now this has been an ongoing beef for me, but I was finally able to figure out what exactly is my issue with the season. So hey, if you're still here, let's look at my top reasons together real quick. So 1, we got screen time on characters I have no connection to. 2, it's very hard to keep you engaged. And 3, I really don't care for Yugi's gold. Now, starting with my first issue, I understand they were trying to share screen time, but it doesn't really work when I don't give a f about the characters fighting. Like, I don't care about these fights because I don't know these niggas. And it's not even like these specific characters are going to be putting in work later on. So knowing that, watching this time around, them getting this much screen time really pissed me off. So not gonna lie, all the monologues and the little flashbacks all just seem so meaningless. Like, what does she need a flashback for? Now, I know what y'all are probably thinking, oh, fans are never happy, blase blase, I get it. Now, I don't mean to compare JJK to other anime, but in this specific case, I have to. So we'll use Naruto only because it's the perfect example for this. So when Shippuden came around, many fans were upset at the lack of focus on the characters they built up in part 1 Naruto. And yes, I was one of those people. Shippuden was great, don't get me wrong, but it really became a Sasuke and Naruto party. But part 1, that obviously wasn't the case. They were way more generous with the screen time. So believe me when I say, I get the sharing screen time thing, but it doesn't work in a tremendously shorter anime like JJK. Well, at least not when your first season is only 24 episodes. It seems like they skipped the letting us get to know these characters part just so they could squeeze in their forced backstories and shit. Episode 16 to like 19 is extremely hard to get through because of this. Luckily, this time around, I knew better was coming with season 2, but I remember the first time I watched, I had to fight super hard not to be on my phone. One Piece is another show that I feel does too much screen time for minor characters, but with them, I feel like they make up for it in other ways. Plus, the way Oda writes, you never know which details are going to be significant like way later on. Jujutsu Kaisen, on the other hand, doesn't do that type of long-term story or world building from what I've seen. So it doesn't really balance out in that way. And I'm fully aware that JJK isn't supposed to be a crazy deep story, but my thing is, at times, it kind of pretends that it actually wants to be, but then it quickly shows you that it's not. So not gonna lie, I really be getting thrown off with that too. Like, make up your mind. But yeah, this actually leads to my next issue, which was the very hard to keep you engaged. I honestly think season 1 has way too many moments where I don't give a fuck about what's going on. And it's not like I want Yugi to be on screen the whole time, but at least keep the people we got to know a little bit better around, like Gojo's fine ass. Episodes 1 to 13 were fine, some better than others. But episodes after 13? It's boring enough to make you drop the whole show entirely. Also, besides the parts that I deem boring because of certain characters getting too much screen time, there's also a little too many feel-good fillery type moments, which isn't the biggest issue for me, because trust, I am humble when it comes to filler. We come from watching entire filler arcs, so believe me when I say, this is definitely 100 times better than that. But I do feel like it may be what contributes to the season being a bit lackluster. And I know I'm not the most patient person, so maybe that was my issue too, but I can't be the only one who feels this way. But let's move on to my final issue. So with Yuji's goal, I won't say I hate it entirely, just that it doesn't exactly interest me. It's actually why the first time around I took a break after episode 2. So Yugi being okay with getting used to get all Sukuna's fingers just to then be executed later was nuts to me. When Gojo said to be executed now or do all that and then be executed, I can't lie, he would have had to off me right there. Because why am I helping y'all just so I could get the same result? That's a terrible deal. But anyways, Yuji said he'll do it, especially after remembering what his grandpa said. So he decides his ultimate goal in life is to help people. I still didn't really resonate with his goal. I was even glad when people started questioning him about it. But he kept giving the same answer, so at that point, I guess you just have to kinda respect it. But I also thought, you know what? They're probably gonna change their minds once they see how useful he really is. They just didn't. They did become a little more accepting of him, but even by season 2, there's still people who want him executed, even after all that has been going on. So to this day, when it comes to his motivations, it's really like, it is what it is. I don't hate it, I don't love it, I don't know, I have no feelings towards it. But on a brighter note, just to show y'all I'm not entirely a hater, I'll also tell y'all the things I actually do like about that season. So the fact that they had me thinking Junpei was gonna be a permanent side character for real was a good little twist. They had Yuji becoming friends with him, all up in his crib, he was in the OP, so I didn't expect him to be gone so fast. I fuck with how they did that. I like shows that don't be scared to off the characters. Not all the characters now, but you know what I mean. I also like that we get introduced to some good ass villains. Oh, and another thing I fuck with heavy is definitely the first OP. I never skip it even on a rewatch. And last but not least, they have great fights, but I don't think it really compares to what we see come after, which is fine. This is the first season after all, but we are introduced to something we call JJK jumpings, which I do love. So yeah, y'all, I don't hate JJK as a whole. Would I say a little overhyped? Sure. But as a whole, I think it holds up well enough. In my opinion, they really excel with the animation, cool characters, and of course the fights. But the story, Like I was saying earlier though, JJK's story is only really iffy to me because I be assuming it's not meant to be a thorough story. You know, it's supposed to be more of a go with the flow type thing. But at the same time, it feels like they want to have a deep story but don't know how to execute it properly. But overall, if you can get through season 1, I think season 2 more than makes up for it. I just think it's a shame it has such a rough start for me. And I wasn't even gonna make this video when I seen the poll results, but my friend who just started watching had the same experience as me, and it brought back all these feelings. Plus, I may be a little biased here, but I seen a post where people were saying JJK season 1 was better than Attack on Titan's first season, and when I seen the reasoning, the nerve to call Attack on Titan's first season boring, I instantly got to editing. But hey, maybe I'm tripping with this one. Let me know what y'all think. I love to hear all your opinions, so make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'm gonna leave y'all with this.
Hey, did you know about this? Surprisingly, you and I both are apparently classified as special grade. Good job. You and me, man.
親に恵まれたな。